It was like demons would take over on me whenever I got in a fight. It was like I was controlled by a demon. I mean, it was like, no, I'd kill you. I would, if not, somebody didn't pull me off of you, you were as good as dead, because I would beat you to death. And I remember the thump, thump, thump of the helicopter when I was in there, and they were still working on me. And at one point I heard one of them say, "We're losing." I was made new. I was baptized with fire. I was killed with the fire, and I was made new with the fire. It was the Lord Himself that reached down and grabbed me from where I was going, from my trip to hell, and pulled me back out and saved me. Never in my wildest dreams would I would think I would be in this situation. Well, when I was younger, when I first moved up here, when I was younger, I guess I was when I got to about 17, 18. Well, when you go into town, you know, your old country hick, this, that, and the other, people picking on you, you know what I mean, beating you down, you know, verbally. And just one day I got tired of it, and I put this big old ham bone on their lips, and that's the way I figured out how to shut them up. So I said, well, hey, that works. So I just went from there. Didn't really want to be here anymore, didn't care whether I was here anymore. I've run drugs, I've shot drugs, snorted drugs. I've done every kind of drug there was. At one point I was considered the baddest guy in New Smyrna Beach. I mean, I had people coming up to me like in the gunfighter days, thinking that if they whipped me, they would have the reputation. With all the fighting I was doing, I figured I might as well make money out of it. So I started this left and right collection agency. So what I would do is I would collect past due bills from people that owed the drug dealers money. So I wound up kidnapping this guy one time, put a gun to his head, put him in the car. Once I got him in the car, I started beating the heck out of him. The idea was to beat him bad enough to where his partners, which they had stolen quite a bit of drugs from my client, beat him bad enough to where they would, you know, they'd come up with some money and I would get a percentage of it. I'd beat you down and I'd keep pounding you until I saw enough blood to where I was satisfied. And that's the way it went. And people became afraid of me. And rightfully so, because like I said, I had no mercy, and I was a bad, bad person. And I'm in my truck trying to take off, and then I felt this, she was stabbing me. I got stabbed once here in the neck, got stabbed right here, and I got stabbed in the gut. And I remember the thump, thump, thump of the helicopter when I was in there, and they were still working on me. And at one point I heard one of them say, "We're losing them." See, I had lost about 7.5 pints of blood. And the average person only has 10 pints of blood in them. So I was almost gone. I was almost gone right there. I've had cracked ribs, broke jaw in 3 places, been run over by a car, fell off of tall buildings. I've been hurt before, but nothing like this. Nothing like this. My son and I were building a bonfire. It was going a little bit too slow for me. So I picked up this can of gas and I threw this gas on there, which I had done 100 times. Not saying it's smart at any time, but I had done it before. And all of a sudden that gas just went to the can. And it was like instant. It's like boom, and the can just exploded. And there I was with gas all over me, and I was on fire. I mean, I was a torch, like you see in the movies, but no fire suit. I was terrified. Here is my whole body on fire. My hair is on fire, everything's on fire. I can feel it. I can feel the fire. And right now, as I'm talking to you, I can feel that fire that's all over me. My wife and my son Eli came outside, to see what the noise was. And Jake screamed at him, Dad's on fire. And my wife hollered out, don't let him run. So Jake tackled me and got me on the ground and was trying to roll me. Well, actually, he threw his body on top of mine, trying to smother the fire. Come to find out later that my boy had second-degree burns on his legs and on his arms and some on his hands from trying to put me out. And you try to do the roll thing, to smother it. I'd roll on my back and my front would catch back on fire. And then I'd roll over on the front and my back would catch on fire. There was no putting that gasoline out. So finally Eli got up and got to the water hose, come out there and sprayed me down the water hose and got me put out. I remember picking up my arms. And my hands were just, the skin off my hand looked like a perfect hand, but it was just hanging down like that on both hands. Your body's just screaming with pain. And I got over it, walked over to where my wife was, and I remember the only thing I could think of saying was, what's next? Because I was used to getting hurt, but to tell you the truth, I didn't really think I was going to make it out of this one. I just didn't think I was going to make it. My wife wrote down a diary from like day 1 to day 52. And that's how long I was in there, 52 days before I came home. I was coming back around in the world. I was fighting hard. I was fighting very hard. The doctors and everybody they just said it was a miracle how fast I was healing. Because I went from my face almost, just burnt, almost losing my ear and everything, to where it just smoothed right on over. When I come out of there, I looked 10, 15 years younger. Just burnt all the wrinkles off my face. It was like I had a facial, but I wouldn't, I don't think I'd want another one like that. That fire took away everything that was in my past. It erased it. It's like I couldn't even remember who I was back then. It erased it. It brought me to a whole new point. And I just felt this presence. I felt this godly presence. And it was like I was made new. I was baptized with fire. I was killed with the fire, and I was made new with the fire. And in my heart, I know that it was the Lord Himself that reached down and grabbed me from where I was going, from my trip to hell, and pulled me back out and saved me and brought me back. And I just knew that He was going to be with me for the rest of my life. I felt Him. I felt Him there with me. And it wasn't even like, Lord, forgive me of my sins. and confessing to God, please save me. It's like I had already been saved. It already happened, and the Spirit was already with me. But it wasn't anything I had to say. It was already there. It was like I was being wrapped in His arms. And He was telling me that it's going to be okay now. I've got you. And from now on, you are a changed man. And I'm going to stay with you. And you're going to stay with me. And you're going to grow with me. And you're going to grow in me. And you're going to be a good man. And from that point on, I just felt the love like I'd never felt in my life. I never knew what love was. This was love. This was pure love. You know what I mean? After that, I'm getting into my Bible and I'm praising the Lord, and I'm seeing who He is and who He is in me, and I'm living for the Lord. I have no regrets over that fire, no regrets over the pain. That's what happened to me. If that's what it took to bring me to this realization that God is the truth and that God is here and how much He loves and how much He forgives. Because if He forgave a man like me, He can forgive anybody. I mean, anybody. I mean, I just love Him so much, and I worship Him every day. My prayers are mostly thank yous. Thank you for your blessings. Thank you for letting me still be here. Thank you for letting me see the sunlight come up again, the sun go down, the precious face of my wife and my children, and everything that's around. There's not an ugly thing in this world anymore. Everything is just beautiful. In the morning early, it's like a brand new day coming up, in which all of them are brand new days. Brand new days, and you just worship those brand new days and thank God for that brand new day. Thank Him for letting you be there, for the opportunity that He gave you to go home. Not in my wildest dreams did I ever think that I would be this kind of person, that I would have all this love in my heart, forgiveness, and love for the Lord, and love for other people, and love of life, just love of life, the joy of life. Never in my wildest dreams would I would think I would be in this situation. To be here, to be able to do that, to talk to anybody like this. Never. This is my journey back home. My home is in heaven. It's not here. This is where I'm staying for this time. But my home is in heaven, and I know that. And God has given me that opportunity to go home. Dreamed that I would think I would be in this situation. When I was younger, when I first moved up here, and I was young, it was like demons would take over on me whenever I got in a fight. It was like I was controlled by a demon. I mean, it was like, No, I'd kill you. I would, if no, somebody didn't pull me off of you, you were as good as dead because I would beat you to death. And I remember the thump, thump, thump of the helicopter when I was in there, and they were still working on me. And at one point I heard one of them say, "We're losing them." I was made new. I was baptized with fire. I was killed with the fire, and I was made new with the fire. It was the Lord Himself that reached down and grabbed me from where I was going, from my trip to hell, and pulled me back out and saved me. Never in my wildest dreams. I guess I was when I got to about 17, 18. Well, when you go into town, you know, your old country hick, this, that, and the other, people picking on you, you know what I mean, beating you down, you know, verbally. And just one day I got tired of it, and